This is GameStop on the 5-minute time frame. Here are your price targets for Friday. We ended the day at $22.09, down 22%. We got clobbered. Now, to the north side, resistance takes us back to the middle of the trend and the baseline, and that is roughly 24.65. Above that, at 2 standard deviations, which would close out that gap, that takes us to 28.88. At 3 standard deviations, takes us back to a level we've been in 2024. That is roughly 31.14. And at 4 standard deviations, which I do not anticipate we get to on Friday, that would be roughly 33.23. To the south side, -2 standard deviations and 1 level of support takes us to roughly 20.30. Below that, 18.24, and another level of support and a potential bounce area and a potential stop loss area. Depends on what side of the line you purchased. That is 16.0. Well, let me get that lined up better. Maybe 16.06-ish, okay? Looking left, you can see we are close to this area, which is 1 level of support, and we started to climb up. This gap up closed to the downside, taking us to roughly 25.31. And looking left even more here, you can see this is a support level, and we slowly climbed our way up. This is resistance. Busted through that. This is another level of resistance, and you know what happens. We fell back down to support. And it's been a while since I've looked at this ticker, but apparently I've tracked this gap that will take us back to 32.26. I will extend that, and let's look at this on the daily so we can see this better, because it's been so long since I went back and it's hard to see. Let's go back to the daily. Let me give you some price targets on the daily. All right, 22.09. The range will be roughly 29.10 to the north side if we're lucky, fingers crossed, and then to the south side, 1 level takes us to 19.84 and 15.41. Obviously, many levels of support and resistance in between. Apparently, there were gaps that I was tracking here. Let's take a look at this. So we have this gap right here that touched to the downside that I anticipated, 19.14, and then we went up and then went back down. Okay, so that's, whoops, okay, so that started, and then, oops, gosh darn it, I gotta get rid of this magnet. It makes everything wonky. That's for this one. My goodness, the gaps within gaps. I gotta grab it at the right spot. Where is this? Okay, this one takes us to right there. That lines up with 17.35. Let me mark that so that we can, I said 35, so let's go 35, turn that red. Okay, and then this one is done, 19.10. Let's get rid of that. That upper band, 21.87, is no longer a threat. And then what about, let me move this out of the way. Okay, that's for this thing. Let's clean this up. See, I really should do this while I'm, okay, that's a tiny one that took us down right there to 23.20. That's done. And this one, this square box here, 24.78 is still in play because that's this big one. All right, it gets confusing, but just go through and do this methodically. Okay, this one's done also right there. All right, so that's done. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this. I'm just going to delete it. Doesn't matter because we've already tickled this one, but it hasn't touched it and closed out. Yeah, I don't really track GameStop. Plenty of people do. All right, so one other one I want to go over super quickly, and this one has cratered on us. Oh, look at that. I'm not going to... Okay. Okay, since I'm here, this is like so bad. Okay. Right here for Msos, this is an ETF for pot stocks. Okay, the range there is 297-ish. And then 131. Please, Lord, no, don't let us get there. Okay, now let's give you the 5-minute time frame, 1 day at a time. I've made money off of this, and I'm also upside down on some shares, but I am not worried. I personally hate the smell of the wacky bataki. It gives me a headache, but I smell it everywhere I go, and lots of people are into it. All right, so we're at 269. Let's clean that up. Up 6.75%. Thank the Lord. All right, and to the north side, 276 and 282. Note the channel we're in still going down. The middle of the trend takes us to roughly 254. That's also support, and we could bounce off of this line or continue to follow this trend, this middle line here down. All right, 240, 233, 226. Note the bounce at support, sell off at resistance, fell down. Now we're making our way back up, but this is still resistance. We could go up to here, and then definitely make our way back down. And if we're up here and here, that's a sell off, and then a bounce off of this line. This turns into support on the way down, resistance on the way up. Support, support, a bounce. Okay. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to go relax, watch some television, and do nothing. If there's a ticker you want me to go over, please let me know, and have a fantastic trading day.